Good day, learners. Welcome to Mr. M's oral communication class, where learning English is quick, fun, and easy. If you haven't seen Part B of Lesson 1 or would like to have a refresher, you may access the video here. Now, let's continue with our lesson. For today's lesson, here are our objectives. The first one is to identify the functions of communication. And the second one is to determine scenarios for the functions of communication. Communication is essentially a human activity. Although animals have a way of communicating, human beings have a systematic, complex, and unique way of communication through verbal and nonverbal ways. Language is used for different purposes. Hence, there are 5 common functions in communication. You can remember these functions as RISME. R stands for regulation and control. S for social interaction. M for motivation. I for information. And E for emotional expression. RISME. Let's delve into each one. R for regulation and control. Communication is used to maintain control over others. It's used to control a person's action, attitudes, and behaviors. A simple command is one way to influence another's behavior. Aside from that, there are many ways to entice a person's action. These are the imperative, rhetorical questions, and declarative forms. First is the imperative, a form of command. It is simply a statement that orders someone else. Second is rhetorical question. It is a question that does not require an answer. It emphasizes a point and indirectly entices a person to act. Lastly is declarative form. It is a statement that implies something without directly saying the point. An example of regulation and control using the 3 forms is when your mom asks you to clean your room. The imperative form is using a command. Clean your room. The rhetorical form is when your mom asks a question but does not expect an answer. Would you mind cleaning your room? And the declarative form is a general statement that implies action. This room is messy. Naturally, your reaction is to clean up your room. The next function of communication is social interaction. It's used to bond relationships with other human beings. Human beings are social animals. Hence, communication is the key to establish, bridge, and deepen relationships with others. A sample of social interaction is when you're at a party or talking with your friends. Your way of communicating with them shows that you want to deepen your relationship. A simple, "Hi, how are you?" Or, "How are you doing?" And even, "Wow, that's a nice dress," can help boost your relationship and even lead to a deeper understanding amongst yourselves. The next function is motivation. Motivation is used to entice the act and reach for a certain goal. We use communication as a form to encourage others to finish and to reach a certain objective. It can be a negative motivation or a positive motivation. Common examples of motivation are statements like, "You can do it," or "I believe in you," or "Nice job, keep it up." Although negative motivations can also influence positive change, these are only a few instances. And most of the time, negative motivations can damage instead of encourage. The next function of communication is information. This is the most basic function, and it's used to disseminate facts, information, and knowledge. It's also used to process and structure what other people learn about something. Communication is a way for people to share and expand what they've learned, what they want. This form of function is common and can be seen anytime and anywhere. One common example is when you're watching the news, where the reporter disseminates facts and information about current happenings. Another example is when a person delivers a speech to a crowd. Lastly, communication is used for emotional expression. It is used as a curative to maintain a balanced health. Expressing our feelings through verbal and nonverbal ways can cope with a certain situation. It can also lead to a therapeutic way of lessening and even curing certain problems. Statements like, "You make me cheerful," "I'm anxious to tell someone," and "I feel doleful," are just some examples that express emotion. This function can lessen and even remedy a person's psychological or mental scar from an emotional cause. This is where a psychiatrist or a psychologist helps a patient heal and understand the core problem through communication. A common situation is when you share your feelings with your friends. Afterward, you feel lighter than before. To summarize today's lesson, remember RISME. R for regulation, S for social interaction, M for motivation, I for information, and E for emotional expression. We might not notice, but we use these functions every day and even simultaneously. You might not know that when you talk to your friend, you're sharing information and at the same time expressing your emotions. Or you might even be motivating someone and controlling them. Whatever the situation may be, always remember that communication is a tool for us to understand and to express our thoughts and ideas better. I hope you've learned something new. If you enjoyed today's lesson and would like to share it with your fellow learners, you may like, share, and subscribe. See you soon for our next lesson.